I just gotta say, I'll say spoiler now. There's the moment at the end where Drago throws in the towel. And I knew it was going to happen. I was with my friend Andrew, who's been on the show, and I leaned over and I was like, he's going to throw in the towel. And you're watching Drago. He's watching his son up there fighting. And his son is going through the same experience that he went through when he was fighting Rocky 30 years prior, where he was Goliath against David. He was bigger, stronger. He had never been like defeated, and it was going to be a wash. It was going to be nothing, and he never had gone the distance like this before. And I think, watching his son go through that, it was bringing back memories of what he went through, and there was a lot of shifting in his attitude in that match when he was fighting Rocky. There was the line where he was like talking about he's a piece of iron. There's some of those close-up shots that were in slow motion where he was like rolling his eyes, just in just pain, as sweat and blood are pouring down when he was just breathing. It wasn't just sitting there just ready to destroy Rocky at all times. That he was struggling and suffering just as much as Rocky was. Now in this one, Drago's watching that, and he doesn't want him to have to experience everything. And it turns out what they were fighting for wasn't the belt. They were talking about the belt, and the whole fight was for the belt. And they earlier in the movie when they had the first fight, they didn't win the belt because they threw a cheap shot, and they messed up their chance, or they messed up their victory. But this time it was for the respect and affection of their countrymen and Drago's wife, or ex-wife at that point, I don't know. And as soon as she got up and walked out, it was over. It had nothing to do with who won the match. It had to do with winning everyone's respect and that favor again, for them to be able to step up again as heroes in their country. There was a lot of patriotic pride that was going on here. And as soon as she walks off, Rocky looks over and notices this, and I don't know if he fully comprehended everything going on with them, but it didn't matter. He was just sympathetic, noticing while his boy was up there just pounding and pounding on Victor Drago. Rocky takes a moment and notices that Drago's wife leaves. When that happens, Drago feels that the victory is over. All he's going to do is watch his son just get pounded and pounded. Whether or not he comes out and defeats and gets the belt, that was irrelevant at that point. Drago stepped up. He didn't want to watch his son go through that, and it wasn't worth anything permanent that could happen. And he had seen the other side of it, where he watched Rocky not throw the towel. He watched himself destroy and murder Apollo Creed. And if you remember from 4, he stared him and watched him in the eye as he died, while Rocky looked up at him, which triggered the initial desire for revenge. Drago didn't want that. He didn't want his son to go through that. He didn't want his son to get killed. He didn't want his son to kill. He didn't want his son to get permanently damaged or hurt. All he cared about was his son, because his son is all he had left. His wife was gone. The respect was gone. He was no longer a hero. As he described earlier in the movie, he was just a wild dog in the streets, which were just spit on and hated in the streets. All he had was his son left, and he wanted to preserve what was left. So he stood up in front of everyone and threw in the towel and did what Rocky didn't do. And I think that was a gesture. I think that meant something. I think Rocky, seeing that, he was conflicted at times with whether or not he should have thrown in the towel. I think when he saw that, it meant a lot to him too. And he stepped in there, and all he cared about was just pacifying his son. His son was freaking out, and Victor was just so mad that he stopped the fight, and he wanted to keep going. But he's like, no, it's okay. It's okay that we didn't win. It's okay. Because whether or not they got the belt, they didn't win. His wife was already gone. And I think that was amazing. I think in the final shots, even though, we show Apollo with his father at the cemetery, and we see Rocky with his son, and then we see Victor running alongside Ivan, ready for whatever's going to come next for them. But they were still close, and that's what mattered. I love that. There was something important to Drago that he was able to cling on to, and it wasn't this tragedy of a story for him. Yeah, they didn't get the belt. Yeah, his wife was gone, and they didn't turn around and just revel in it. But he was just suffering, watching his son go through what he did, watching the entire crowd flip sides and start rooting for the American versus their hero. I just think there was so much power in that. But when he stood up to throw in that towel, I got emotional. I thought that was, I started, almost clapping, but I'm in a theater. And I was touched. I think that was one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen in a movie, and I think that's one of my favorite moments in a Rocky movie. I'll say that. Makes me really appreciate Rocky. I think it was beautifully written and beautifully done. It was touching. I think Drago is a gorgeous, beautiful character, and I always did. I always thought there was more to it than just not that this revealed more. I'm just saying that I always felt and observed more from what happened in Rocky IV throughout the movie than a lot of people talk about. But anyway, that's my one spoiler I'll say. I just think that was one of the greatest moments in the movie. That was my favorite moment in the movie. That was one of the greatest moments in the Rocky franchise, was when Drago threw in the towel, and he did it in such a way like it's over. Not like, oh, spare his life. It was like, it's over. It doesn't matter anymore. It's beautiful. That's my pouring out my heart there. It touched me. It really did. So Creed 2, go enjoy it. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next time. More Rocky discussions to come, I assure you.